Matlock with West Asheville Yoga and Freedom of Movement Bodyworks in Asheville, North Carolina. And I'm going to show you some deeper work in the adductor inner thigh muscles. The inner thigh muscles attach along the groin and along the lower sections of the pelvis on either side and come down along the inside of the thigh, attaching along the inner shaft of the femur. And then the gracilis muscle attaches below the knee, so it can be indicated in inner knee pain. There's several small, thin muscles, adductor longus and brevis, which you can feel a big tendon right here is adductor longus, brevis is deep to that. And then behind that muscle is adductor magnus. It's a really underappreciated muscle in the body. It's a really big muscle of your thigh, and it can be indicated in all kinds of dysfunction that feels like hamstring tension, but it may actually be adductor magnus. So it's a really important muscle to know how to release on yourself. The problem with the foam roller is that it's a little too wide and big. It can't get deep enough in here, up by the groin, to really affect the muscles close to the groin and their trigger points and where they hold their tension. So some folks also have trouble rolling on the foam roller because it's hard on their arms and their hands and their shoulders. So I'm going to show you an alternative first to rolling your inner thigh on the foam roller. You can just use a yoga block and a play ball of some sort. The yoga block could also be a Tupperware container or a shoebox. Books will work, but they tend to slide on each other. And so if there's a reason why you need to just be laying on your side, you could just put the block there and the ball right there on the block, and then roll through the inner thigh muscles this way. It's also a little easier to shift your pressure than when you're laying right on a foam roller. And then as I want to get deeper in closer, as I come up into more the points of adductor longus and brevis, then I'm going to just kind of sink in and let that ball do the work for me. At some point though, that ball is still a little too big to get really close to the groin. That feels pretty good, but it's not going to get into some of the points that I really want to access, including the adductor magnus. So to get those points, I'm going to sit up and take a smaller ball, like a pink ball or a tennis ball. And I'm going to sit with one leg bent forward and another leg bent back behind me. I like to keep a foam roller close by so I can lean on it for comfort. Then I slide the block or my Tupperware container underneath the back leg. And this leg is just kind of relaxed. And then I can feel that right near my groin is a thick tendon, a real obvious tendon. And that's the tendon of adductor longus. And gracilis is also up in there. So I want to bring the ball just a couple inches below the pubic bone and try to get right on. It feels like I'm right on that tendon. You'll notice that as I turn my body away, that my thigh rotates a little bit more fully onto the ball. So that gets my pressure. I'm trying to just sit up well and breathe and let the ball sink in to this point in adductor longus. Then I rotate back to relieve the pressure off the ball, and I slide the ball down another inch or so, and then I drop back in and I turn again to rotate my thigh onto the ball, and I can place my arm on the foam roller for comfort and just let that sink in. If you don't find a spot right away, just move the ball around a little bit or shift your twist a little bit. Just see if you can find some tender spots right along here. In the beginning, when you're first rolling, it doesn't take much pressure at all, and you might find a whole lot of spots. So just pick a couple that feel really important and then move on so that you're less sore the next day. To work into the adductor magnus, I need to find that point again, or that tendon again, and I'm going to work just behind that tendon and drop in. So I'm behind the tendon toward the hamstrings, and then I have to I have to sit up on it more. And the ball sinks into that space in between the hamstrings attachment and the big tendon. But if you just drop it behind that real prominent tendon, you'll get right in there. And then I slide the ball down a couple of inches and drop it down again. And for this pressure, I sit more over the block instead of turning away. And that's going to get the pressure that I need to release the adductor magnus. Always when you're done rolling, you want to give a little stretch when you've released your trigger points and done a little connective tissue work. So these muscles are stretched by either sitting in like Baddha Konasana or just sitting with a wide angle and then bowing forward. As you do that, if you've released one side without releasing the other, you'll feel a big difference between the two sides. Like right now, this side feels really free. This side feels like it's gripping a little bit. So now I want to go ahead and do the same thing and roll the other side. Thanks for watching.